In this video, I'm going to talk to you about the importance of establishing some boundaries if you're separated or thinking about getting separated from your spouse. And I want to make sure you know my heart here. I'm not speaking to the couples that are for sure getting a divorce and they're just kind of waiting on paperwork and courts to make it official to be divorced. I'm really talking to the couples that you're struggling, you're lost, things are just not working, and you're thinking maybe some space and distance could help you. And hopefully you're thinking, we don't really want a divorce. We want to see if we can make this work. So I'm speaking to you, and I'm hopeful that these tips will be helpful to you to make separation something that can actually work to your advantage and can actually make your marriage stronger in the end, even though I know that cognitively that doesn't necessarily make sense, but I promise you separation can really be a great tool to help you to get back to a place in your marriage that you can both feel good about. And I just want to bring out from John chapter 10, when Jesus says that the enemy comes to steal and to kill and to destroy, but that Jesus has come to give us life and a satisfying and full life. That's my heart behind this video. Is the enemy is trying to destroy marriages left and right. It doesn't matter if you're a Christian or a non-Christian, marriages are failing. And the enemy wants to kill and destroy. And Jesus, though, wants to save marriages. That's the business that he's in. He wants you to save your marriage, and he wants to help you to do that. And so my heart really is that for you, whatever your reasons are for why you're separated or thinking about separation, that you could remember that through the power of Jesus, through the truth of God's word, through godly people in your life that can help you, you can save your marriage and have a rich and satisfying life. So here's my first tip. Agree as a couple on your final destination. And here's what I mean by that. Go into your separation, or if you're already separated, have a conversation with your spouse now and say, what's the goal that we have for this time? Do we want a divorce or do we want to save our marriage? And make a decision and agree on saying, we both want to get to that place of saving our marriage. Now, there may be a lot of work to do. It may take a lot of time, and that's okay. But agree on the final destination, because it brings in obviously other issues if your spouse is saying, I want the divorce, I'm not interested in working on the marriage, but you are. But if you're both going into separation thinking, we don't know what to do, we're lost, we're not getting along, it just seems like we might be better apart than together, then talk about, but let's make separation something that can work for us, and let's try to get to this place that we want to save our marriage and not let it be destroyed. So agree on your final destination. Talk about that as a couple first. Here's the second tip. Tell your spouse the areas where they need to earn your trust back. I just want to remind you how important trust is at the foundation of a healthy marriage. In fact, you should check out Marriage Basics, which is a series in our library that talks about the 3 foundational things that we need to have in a healthy marriage, which is about love and trust and communication. And in trust, what we talk about is that trust is earned. It's not freely given. So certainly for you guys, for whatever the reasons are why separation has come about for your marriage, you've obviously broken trust. Trust is obviously not at the foundation of your marriage right now. So what you need to say to your spouse is, here are the areas where I need you to earn back my trust. And here's what I mean by that. Trust is a measurable thing. So if you say to your spouse, if there had been an affair, you could say, listen, I need to see proof that you are no longer in that relationship, which might mean, you say, I'd love to see your phone to see if you're still in contact with that person. If pornography had been a struggle for one of you, that you would be able to say, I have access to all of your passwords to get on your computer and to see what your search history looks like. I would like to see that you're in counseling or in an accountability situation with someone. Whatever it is, that you would have specific things that you could say, if you want to earn my trust back, then I need to see these things happening from you. For some people, it might be you just were never emotionally there for me. So I need to see that you care for me and that you ask me questions like, well, how was your day and how are things going for you? And that you really try to learn the skills of how do I show you that I do care about you? But the more specific you can be, the better it's going to be for you to know, can I trust my spouse? Are they doing things to show me that they're trustworthy? And that'll go a long way in healing a lot of things in a broken marriage when you see that you're both working on areas where you need to start earning trust back. Here's the third thing. You need to create appropriate boundaries for this time of separation. So here's what I mean. Obviously, it's going to be unique to every situation, to every couple, because the reasons why you're separating are going to be different, right? But if you can look at your situation and say, okay, for us right now, in the beginning of this time of separation, how often are we talking? Are we talking by phone? Are we texting? Are we emailing? Can we go to dinner once a week? Or are you not ready for that yet? And maybe you're saying, no way, there's been too many things that have gone on, I'm not ready for that yet. So agree on that. Tell your spouse, here's the boundaries that I'm comfortable with right now. We can talk once a week, but I need it to be by email. Or we can talk bi-monthly right now. And again, with the goal, if your goal is the final destination is to save your marriage, then certainly with your boundaries, you're going to need and want to hopefully over time, as trust is being earned, that you're going to move those boundaries to be less stringent. But it's at the same time important that both of you feel comfortable with what's happening, because what you don't want to do in a time of separation is if one spouse is more motivated and the other spouse is like, I'm just trying to figure this out. Well, if they keep coming at you, then you're just going to want to pull further and further away. So it would be better to agree on some boundaries together of how often are we talking? When we do see each other, are we affectionate, or is affection totally off the table for now? And then talk about it as you go and make changes as you feel comfortable. But the more clear you can be with boundaries, then both of you are playing on the same page, right? And one of you isn't forcing yourself on the other, because that's not going to go well. But that you both feel comfortable with how things are working in the relationship at this point. And I would really strongly suggest talking to a counselor or to a trusted friend or a mentor about how do you establish those boundaries? What am I comfortable with? How do I communicate that to my spouse? And then your spouse having the same conversation with you. But having those boundaries in place is going to be really important so you both feel safe, but also that those are going to be fluid and will change as time goes and as you feel more comfortable with one another and you're earning trust. And again, you eventually want to get to this place where you're getting back to the marriage. So you're not going to want to have stringent boundaries forever. And here's the last one. Seek individual counseling. Use this time in separation to work on yourself. Use the time apart to say, I'm going to go work on the things that I need to deal with, the issues that I own for why the marriage was not working. Go talk to a counselor about those, or to your pastor, or to a mentor. Work through those things so that you both can come back then to the marriage counseling at a later time, and you're healthier individuals ready to talk about the marriage. If you put the cart before the horse and you start doing marriage counseling too quickly without dealing with the individual issues, then you're just kind of repeating old patterns and you're not really going to move forward. So take this time to work on the things that you need to work on individually, and then you're going to get to that place where you can come back to the marriage counseling. And I promise you, if you use these tips and if you really utilize separation in a productive way, it can make your marriage stronger than ever.